stage approaches the unreal. To those who think and feel, to touch the sun reality beyond the gilded cage. Ask the peace and what we know, it'll lead to act within sufficient time. One must feel that barriers to keep one's open time. Living in the limelight, the universe, or dreaming for those in peace. Those who wish to be must put aside the alienation. Belong with the fascination, the illusion, the underlying. Moving with the shine, there is not in the camera eye. I have no heart to lie. I get within the strange on the awaited days. All the world and be the stand. We are feeling my life. From those that portray us. To my God, it comes my time. Thou gilded cage. Living in the limelight, the universe of dream. For those who used to see. Oh, the race to be. Let's put aside the alienation. Get on with the fascination. The relation, the underlying. Living in the limelight, the universe of dream. For those who used to see. Oh, the wish to be. Let's put aside the alienation. Get on with the fascination. The relation, the underlying. The relation, the underlying.
Bam! How about that intro? Most of us recognize that's our cousin Scott Shaw, son of Uncle Danny. And yeah, he used to be in a Rush cover band. And actually, they did a pretty good show. I mean, a pretty good job of covering Rush songs. Anyways, I see Jennifer and Susie and Cynthia, a trio that I think were very close growing up. How is everyone doing today? Welcome. It's the 29th of April, year of COVID. And looks like we're all still hanging in there. It looks like actually got 8 people up in the house. Amazing. Let me drop the link because I don't have any agenda today. My normal agenda to do what I do, whatever that is, I never have one, and don't either today. So you guys make the show. Up for any topics, any questions, any appearances? That's what we do here. It's not real complicated. Rainy up here. It's actually I don't want to say rain. I don't want to say mist. Somewhere between rain and mist. So it's wet up here. Oh, darn it. I'm sorry to hear that, Cindy. So here we go. Thank you. Let's put my lovely cousin Susie up.
Hey, where are the other girls? They should come up too.
I would love for you three to come up.
No, it'd be fun, wouldn't it?
That would be fun, and then I can go and have an I took another nap, so I didn't get a popsicle in yet. So come on up here, Cynthia and Jennifer. How about that? Jennifer said she only has a few minutes. What's going on today, Susie?
Well, mostly I wanted to come on, and I wanted, in the spirit of gratitude, wanted to thank you for doing this show, because a lot of people get on and watch, and it breaks up their day, and they're home all day long. And I don't know if you realize how much some of them, I know my mom goes on every day, how much people appreciate that you do it, but you've got to be getting tired and keeping conversation going. You're so good at that, but it's got to get a little tiring. Giving you permission if you want to cut down your days or cut down your time, or I'd like you to keep doing it, but you probably break today, you know?
Like, well, you know, thank you very much. Actually, I enjoy it. Yesterday we did an hour show, which I really liked. So I think in general I think we're going to try for hour, and if something is interesting going on or something, you know, we'll keep it going. But yeah, I agree. But not really getting too burned out. I'm not getting too burned out. But you have your cousin ready to come up.
Oh, good.
Hey,
On,
Cindy.
Hi, cousins.
Hi.
How are you? Hi, Sissy Q.
You know we were going on the show, Cindy, when we put our hair down.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's not up in a knot on top of our head.
I have no makeup, nothing
Can't
with
hear
my
you.
hair. I washed
We
it
can't
yesterday.
hear her, Patrick.
Didn't dry it, you know.
Can't hear you.
I can hear her.
Can't hear her.
You
Can
can't
me,
hear her?
Pat?
I can hear you, Sissy.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I can't hear
Yep.
Cindy.
You can't. That'll be awkward then.
Yeah, I can't hear. I don't know what she's saying. She's
Okay,
saying something
bye-bye.
important. I can tell by her face.
Come back on, Cindy. Give that a try. Hey, Dave. Dave comes in too. We even have some non-family members, Susie, that come in once in a while.
Dave Jackard.
And you look nice today in that color brown. Is that brown I'm seeing?
I took my nightgown off about 10 minutes ago. Think I'm kidding. I'm not.
Is it another hot day out there?
Yeah, it is. It's warm. But I got sunburned by the pool, so I couldn't go back out there today. So I have to wait till tomorrow.
I know you won't care, but it's rainy here.
No, it's like 90 something, 92 maybe here.
Oh, it's cool and warm. Well, I was asleep until I did another nap today, and I need to set an alarm clock. I got up and I had 5 minutes to the show, and I managed to get everything done.
I like my naps. Some days I can take a good one. Sometimes it's just 10 or 15 minutes, but little naps are good. Good for the spirit.
I see Kurt is here. It's 100 degrees in Indio.
Indio's hot. Hot.
So come on up, somebody. Help me get me off the hook here. Unless Susie, we could talk too. Let me ask you a question. Since we know we have a lot of this, if you don't mind, since you're already going to be up here.
I don't mind.
You know, we've been sharing a lot of stories, but we haven't got a whole lot about Grandma and Grandpa. You got anything for us on
Grandpa, particularly Grandpa.
Particularly Grandpa.
I know you don't believe in this, but last year I was at a girls' party where they had a medium come in who connects with the afterlife. And
Yeah.
at the end of the thing, she asked all of us there. Actually, James Kircher came through to me that day. But anyway, she asked all of us, did we have any questions? And I said, this is about the third or fourth time I've seen a medium. And as much as everybody absolutely loved my grandmother, she never shows up. And I was wondering why somebody would never show up. And she said, because your grandmother has went to a higher level and she's so done with anything earthly, she doesn't want to come back here. She wants to stay where she's at. I can believe she went to a higher level.
Well, good for her.
That's why she doesn't come back that often. I know she has a couple times with people, but not all that much. Yeah, Byron's the one nobody talks about much because I guess he was pretty, he worked his whole life and he wasn't around to make impressions on people. I listened to what my mom says and Donna says about growing up with Byron, but
Hey,
he was
I
around.
don't, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm losing your sound on you, Susie.
Oh, do I need to come closer?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. I don't remember him making a real connection with any of us, particularly the girls, I think, maybe more so with the boys, with painting and things. But I always thought of him as not a scary man, but somebody that wasn't warm and cuddly or someone you'd walk in and give a hug to, that kind of, but I think that's typical of his personality. But I always thought of him as a good man, somebody that worked hard and took care of his family and all of that. I don't know. It's like when I was working with kids all those years, I always said, if I can't make an emotional connection with you, I'm not going to make any connection at all. So I was the counselor that could always make the kids cry, and people go, why do you do that? I said, because it's important that you get to the emotion underneath the feelings. And I don't know that Grandpa ever did that. He never talked about his father. He never talked about things that had went wrong in his life. He just got up, went to work, and had Grandma cook for him and sat by his spit can in the fire, and that's what I remember about him. Other than driving around Chico, I was always afraid to honk or wave at him, afraid he'd have a crash or something, because he always got so excited in his old age when somebody would do that.
That was probably good intuition.
Yeah, he got real excited when anybody.
Yeah.
Those paint overalls, that was part of his thing.
What about Grandma then?
Grandpa had a real dedication to the Blessed Mother. I'm not quite sure where that came from or how that evolved, but I know he did. I know he said the rosary every night. What would you ask me about Grandma?
Yeah.
Oh, what do you say about Grandma? She was like the perfect grandmother, having 4 grandkids plus my other grandkids on Larry's side, I have a better appreciation for all the kids that Steve grandmothered around her and how well she did in making us all feel a part of the family. That was a big deal. And I don't know how she did that, because I don't think any of us felt left out or discarded or not paid attention to or not validated with her. We all have a huge connection to her, and I'm not quite sure how she managed to do that, particularly when they never had much money. I can throw money around and please my grandkids now, but they never did. It wasn't about that. It was about, come over for coffee and sit at a poker table or sit on the porch or bring the kids over. Or it's not like she ever took us on wild trips or not like that. She was just there. She was there, and she was there with open arms and no judgment, no matter what happened in your life. She was a good woman. I wish people like Robert would have known her. Kevin Clayton would have known her. I know that he would have been a huge part of the family. I think he would have been a great addition had we known he existed.
Do you know what year? Do you know when Grandpa was born? What year? 1904, I want to say, but I don't know.
My mom was. I just know when my mom was born in 1933. So Grandpa was probably 1904. Sis would know.
I think it was 1905.
What year was Grandpa born, Sis?
I think he was born in 05.
I can't hear her either.
I can hear her.
Yeah.
So
maybe I'm going to go out and come back. Maybe it's
I can hear you, but I can hear her.
I can't.
You can hear me though.
I can hear you, but I can't hear Sis.
That's weird. You couldn't hear Cindy either.
And I couldn't hear Cindy. So I'm going to go out. Maybe it's something to do with my Wi-Fi or something.
Susie, come back, okay?
I'm going to go out.
And come back.
Want me to come back, or should I stay?
Yeah.
Yes,
Come back.
come
Okay.
back.
Tell Sis I'll be right back.
Please. What's going on, Sis? How's the weather in Chico today?
Kind of muggy, little overcast, but warm. 80 degrees, maybe.
Okay.
Nice. It's nice out. Yeah.
Kind of rainy here, believe it or not.
Well, maybe that's why we're getting overcast. Maybe it's going to come our way. I don't know.
Beautiful day here.
Yeah, it's beautiful here too. So I just wanted, you started off by talking about Grandma and Grandpa. So I was just going to respond to that. I remember
Now.
yeah, I was just going to respond to you guys talking about. Can you hear me now, Susie?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good.
You guys were talking about grandma and grandpa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Joe was saying, I think what Joe said the other day was pretty much right on. I think my dad really was more affectionate with the little ones than he was. Definitely didn't have very much affection for teenagers, didn't deal well with teenagers. But I can remember being little, when I was little, sitting on my dad's lap and watching TV, or going across the street and sitting on his lap, while he talked to Emmett in his yard all evening. I remember him taking me for walks every evening, or fixing the wheelbarrow up with blankets and walking me down the road with the wheelbarrow. So I remember that was his kind of contribution after dinner, I guess, to help my mom out in some ways.
Yeah, I remember him
Uh,
holding my kids when they were little. When I bring them over, he would.
yeah, he liked the babies. I
Yeah.
remember him holding Dawn a lot, and he liked the babies. He didn't particularly like the teenagers. I think he was pretty affectionate with you too, right, Patrick?
Yeah, he was pretty affectionate with me. He
Yeah,
was. I think I got him on his mellower years. He was
yeah,
worn out. He was worn out by the time I came along.
yeah.
He was more like a
So
you, Patrick, than a grandfather, wasn't he?
he
Yeah,
was more
very
like
much
a
so.
grandfather to me. They were my
Yeah,
grandparents.
yeah, because we all called them grandma and grandpa. Hard for you guys to call them mom and dad.
Yeah, I did too.
I remember one time in particular when I was in Cherry Valley with Terry and we were in Grandpa's old truck coming over that pass down below Ukaipa. And he would sing all those crazy songs and those ballads or make up little ditties going down the road. And we looked
Right.
down the valley and saw the valley down there. And it was a good moment for me because he was happy and singing and making up stories. And I was sitting next
Oh
to
yeah.
the truck. And
Oh, there's Cherry Valley.
yeah,
Look at all the things growing.
he would just
Yeah,
make up stories. Yeah.
yeah. He would just make it up off the. Hey, I wish I could. Hold on. I'm gonna show you guys something.
Okay.
Can you see that helicopter? Oh, wait,
Vaguely.
wait, 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 wait. Oh, I missed it. Sorry. I was trying to show you a helicopter. I think it's Nick Lopes flying over.
Oh, could be. Could be.
He got his new Black Hawk helicopter, so they've been out doing flight
Nice.
tests.
Has he ever taken the girls up?
No, their insurance wouldn't allow that.
Oh,
The
okay.
girls have got to go sit in the helicopter,
Yeah.
and look at it, but no, their insurance wouldn't allow them to do that. Take the kids up.
I know talking about grandpa, I know my mom talks about him being emotionally unavailable as a father. Was that your impression of him too, sis?
Like I said, not as a child, but as a teenager. As a teenager, he wasn't there. I mean, the most he could do was remember I don't know if you were ever there, Susie, at the house, when he would, after dinner, he'd get into giving a lecture.
Yes.
First we'd all say the rosary. You have to kneel down and say the rosary. Then he would start giving us a lecture. Could be about politics, a lot of times about religion, as he walked around the living room, moving the furniture here and there, and as he talked. Do you remember those?
I don't remember moral lectures or anything like that. I remember him getting really heated about politics and the government and how bad it was and all that.
Yeah. He loved it. He loved a good. Reminds me of Joe in that way because he loved a good religious
Healthy debate.
healthy debate. Exactly. And he did have a good heart. I mean, he couldn't really relate to teenagers, so I think he was just he just kind of went into the background because he didn't know what to do. It was up to mom to have to discipline us and do whatever. His discipline, when it did come through, was pretty severe. If I didn't listen or I didn't mind, I remember coming home from school as a teenager from high school late one time. I was supposed to be home at 5 or something, and I didn't get home till 6. And he had a rope in his hand when I walked through the door. Gave me a couple of swats with the rope.
Wow.
So.
Those are the things I never heard about.
Yeah. Well, it didn't happen that often with me, but yeah, he could be pretty severe. Yeah, but I think he got more mellow in his older age. I think he really did have a good heart. He liked helping people out.
Yeah.
You know, I was doing a lot of my graduate social work or working with the disabled when he opened St. Vincent de Paul in Chico. Do you remember that?
Yep.
He opened the St. Vincent de Paul store, and he really did have a kind heart, and he really kind of wanted to help people. But he usually went about it in an enabling kind of way. He didn't discern too much when or how or who to help. And
I think it was
expected
more
everybody.
to give than it was to figure out or solve a problem. If you could just give them
Right. He wasn't good at that. He didn't try to help solve problems or figure that out, but he did like to give. I remember him taking us to church a lot. We would always go to novena on, what was it, Tuesday night or something?
Good night.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
But definitely, I think on a day-to-day basis of child rearing, child caring, my mom was more involved. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
don't know
was
how my mom either one did it with all the kids. I don't know.
I was surprised when you were doing your bread making that night on the show,
Uh-huh.
that you were showing how Grandma showed you how to make biscuits using flour and
Uh-huh.
butter and sugar. Because I said, how Grandma taught me how to make biscuits was from Bisquick mix.
Oh no, she taught me with the flour and stuff. No, I don't
Huh.
know. No.
I need a pair of sunglasses on. I'm sitting outside and it's pretty bright. So how old were you when she taught you to do that?
I think my kids were little. I think I'd come over one morning and she was just making them, so I sat and watched her. And I know one morning we scheduled time for me to come over to make bread because I could never get my bread to rise. I would try to make it and make it. And then I watched her and she had me do some stuff with kneading and yeast and stuff. And ever since then, I've never had trouble. But yeah, mostly I just watched her do it. And
Yeah.
the pointers, like you don't mess with biscuit dough too much. You need bread, but you don't need biscuit dough. You just kind of fluff it up there and stick
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't really take to heart any of her teaching skills on cooking. I wasn't listening as a teenager. In fact, when I first got married at the age of 19, I didn't know how to cook anything. I think the first thing I learned to cook.
just recently getting back a hold of Betty Gramlich, Betty and Bonnie that were Terry's friends.
I'm
And
sorry, come closer.
Remember you
Can't hear you.
25 years ago, and Betty said, I always remember you were always in the kitchen cooking up a pot of spaghetti or pot of chili for everybody, but that's what I did growing up. I helped my mom with cooking, and we're always making huge, took me forever when I was married to Victor to quit making huge pots of stuff, because that's how you cook,
Yeah.
gigantic stews.
Yeah.
But
Well, you always had a lot of people around to feed.
yeah, I always did. It was good though.
Hi, Kurt.
Hello. I have a
Sis,
question for Sis.
Don's house, how that went with the girls and you being out for the first time. Sis,
Well, I can't hear you, Susie. Speak louder.
you went over to Don's last night? To Don and Nick?
Yeah, we went and sat in their driveway. She
Yeah, how was
convinced
that
me.
with the girls? Did you feel okay with that arrangement?
Yeah, they were 20 feet away over in the lawn playing in the sprinkler.
It's still
They were
nice to
playing-
watch it.
Huh?
I said it's nice to get together and watch them.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching them. And she set up chairs that were 10 feet away. And she wiped them all down with Lysol for us. And yeah, made us a whiskey sour.
What do you think? Gonna let us loose?
So, hi, Cindy.
Hi, Sissy.
Is that Cindy?
Yeah.
I know.
Put your hair up.
I'm so hot. I have all my hair pulled up, but I still have hair.
I can hear you now.
Oh, good. Hi, sis.
Hi.
Nice to see your face.
You look
So I
beautiful.
asked the question, when do you think you're going to let us meet with our immediate families again? When's that going to be okay?
Say again?
When do you think we can meet with our immediate families again? Grandparents, grandkids, kids?
Anytime you want to.
Oh, Linda came up today and brought my mom's repaired wheelchair. Tommy and Jen come up because they've been, you know, secluded forever. Gene and Josh came up the other day just because we all missed each other so much we couldn't stand it anymore. It'd been 6 weeks. I think if we social distance, I think it's fine. It's not
It's
really
kind of-
in California that bad. And I want to swim in your pool.
I figure if I'm social distancing from the guy at the bank,
That's how I,
bank teller for 10 minutes, I can go social distance from my grandkids for 10 minutes.
yeah, that's how I
Fuck
think.
yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
offend me. It's okay, we're good.
Well, in
Oh,
Butte
Less than a
County,
minute.
we've only had 16 confirmed cases now, and they've stayed that way in all of Butte County. And I think only 8 of them were in Chico for over a week now, I think since the 22nd. And of course, they're not testing very many. They've only tested about 1,100 people.
How about
But,
the homeless population?
I just
Sis?
don't think there's that much going on in Butte County.
Yeah. California in general is pretty light because they think we have that herd immunization and that it was here earlier. I know I was sick for a month starting the day after Christmas. Josh
Yeah.
was
Too.
sick, could not figure out what was wrong with him. It drove Gina crazy. She had
I
him in the
remember.
hospital all the time. Yeah. And they still
I
never
remember.
figured. Yeah.
And he was really sick. He was a sick
So
little
they
kid,
tested
man.
for,
Yeah.
yeah. If they
So-
tested for immunity or, gave him that antibody test, he might show that he had it.
Well, they weren't testing for that then. Even
They're not
they're
testing
saying,
for that
we knew
now.
about it since November. I had a flu test when I was sick and it was negative, but they didn't
You
test
guys
for
are cutting
corona.
out. You guys are cutting out your sound. I'm going to try to move up closer to the house.
Oh, good.
Better Wi-Fi.
Because I had a question
I'll
for you,
see.
sis. I don't think sis can hear me.
She's moving around right now.
See if,
Yeah.
if the hearing gets, sound gets better. Are you guys talking?
Waiting for you.
How are you?
Someone say something.
Let me see.
Shoot,
Sis,
it's all
can you hear
cutting
me
out.
okay? I
It
don't think
sounds
sis
like you're
hears me.
garbled, like underwater. It's
Does it
garbling.
sound
Can
like
you
that to
hear
you,
me?
sis?
Can you
Yeah, I
hear
hear
me
you
okay,
fine.
sis?
It's you guys are both you're both garbly.
You need to go out and come back.
Garble, garble.
Okay, bye.
Should I go out and come back?
Yeah,
All right, I'll go out and
We
come
got
back.
to dial this thing down. We need your help, Pat. Hi, cousin.
because I couldn't hear or Cindy earlier and I had to log out and come back on.
I think if she logs out and comes back on, you'll be okay. Give her a second.
It worked for me.
We'll wait till they come back on.
Or you
Pat,
have
I
your
got,
trademark red today again. Is that your
Yeah.
shop shirt?
I wear this outfit once a week.
Let's hit it. Once a week.
It's in my repertoire, if you know what I mean. No, it's a Fisherman's
Yeah.
Landing. Wrong side. Fisherman's Landing shirt. One of my favorite shirts to wear.
That's what
But,
I was telling
Pat-
Patty about 10 minutes ago. So I feel you.
Pat, can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm. Loud and clear.
I have a question about Grandpa, and you might be able to answer it. I was hoping Sis could be able to answer it. One of my memories of Grandpa is hearing him say those damn bureaucrats, or those G-damn bureaucrats, So was Grandpa a Democrat or a Republican? And I'm not getting political here. I don't care what. Either
No,
way,
no.
it doesn't matter to me. I love them the same. I'm just curious. You never hear. I don't know.
No, that I just used to him rail against bureaucrats all the time. I
Yeah.
would guess he was definitely more on the conservative side, but whether he's a Democrat or Republican, honestly, I don't know.
My dad,
Yeah, your
Totally.
dad says.
my dad, he was a Democrat.
Okay.
He said all good Catholics were Democrats. I remember him saying that.
Okay. Yeah.
He was a follower of John F. Kennedy.
Yeah. I had a thought when you were
If he was
about what you were talking when you were talking about your dad, and it was like we try to ascribe today's values on yesterday's people, You know, that people do that a lot. Like, men were different 100 years ago or 50 years ago. They just
Oh,
really.
sure.
I mean, none of my grandfathers ever said "I love you." I tell my grandkids I love them all the time. It's just different, you know. It really, we have to remember that you know, men back then weren't accustomed, for the most part, of showing their feelings and you know what I mean.
Right. Right.
Thank God for the women's revolution.
I think we've just,
You guys,
you know, evolved along a little bit, you know.
Yeah. I think it was, I think my dad was a very, very hard worker. You know how hard it
Yep.
is to do painting contractor work, and
Yep.
your job is physical. You know how tired you are at the end of the day. I think he was just dead ass tired, and he did what he could, and the most he could do was sit in a chair and hold a kid. You know, and that's what he did. If he got too old to be held, then
See you later.
yeah, yeah.
But I think it was even, you know, we talk about how hard we worked. He worked as a painter, but back then, you know, lead paint and lacquer and paint thinner, all those things, you know, that OSHA has, there's a lot of control over now. There wasn't any before, and he probably worked around some serious. There was a lot of painters that are alcoholics and drug addicts, which he never was. But that's kind of
But
brutal.
he
to be still in those
Didn't
fields.
my dad have blood poisoning, or what do you call it? Lead in his blood at one time. I think he
Lead
had
poisoning.
Yeah. Yeah. Who knows what it did to him neurologically? I have no idea.
You know,
Right.
it can't be real healthy though.
No.
No,
He was
I think
he was,
people
I
generally.
think he was kind of lended towards diabetes towards the end. You know, I think he had some diabetes. I think your mom, Kurt, would probably know that more than I would, I think. But
Sis, how old was Grandpa when he died? Was he in his 80s? He was, wasn't he?
yeah. I think he was 83, 84, 85. I think my mom was 83. He may have been 85.
Yeah.
I'm never one good one for dates and numbers. I can hardly remember my own birthday.
Me too.
How old I am.
Me
But
too.
I think he was about 83. He was born in 1905, but I could not tell you the year that he died.
That's it. That's still, you know, that's a good long life.
That would be
Living
85.
into your 80s. I'll take 85.
Yeah. Yeah.
My dad only made it to 54, 55. I felt happy every make it past that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Dean Dixon's going to be 89 next week.
No way.
Yeah.
Seriously? He's only a year younger than my mom?
Oh, yeah. He's only a year younger than
I had
Mom.
no idea Dean was that old.
Yeah, they've often talked about that, I think. Yeah.
Wow.
May 5th, right, sis?
May 5th, Cinco de Mayo.
Not going to be much Cinco de Mayo this year going on, I don't think.
I know. Charlie is supposed to be helping me put together a car parade so people will parade around our block sometime during the day and honk.
That's a good one.
Yeah. They're going to honk and wish him happy birthday with little flags and bubble wands and things like that. But I think that's the best we're going to do, other than maybe I'll bake him a carrot cake.
Nice.
He's happy with that. He doesn't expect much.
Yeah.
Has he been washing his
I
hands,
get
sis?
that.
Say, I didn't catch that, Patrick. What?
Has he been washing his hands all day long?
Well, I made him wash his hands a day because we went out to, we went and got cinnamon rolls at the coffee shop down the street. And they bring them out to the car. You call and they'll bring them out to the car. And we took them over and gave them to the girls this morning. I've been telling Aubrey, if she does her schoolwork, you don't have to bribe Charlie. She's right on it. But Aubrey's one that's kind of falling behind. So I tell her, if you do your work last night, then I bring her cinnamon roll today. So we took up cinnamon rolls and we went and had the car washed.
And I said, I have gloves. I'm going to get out and vacuum the car with gloves. But I said, I don't want you to get out and vacuum it. Well, he did. I was vacuuming away, and I look up, and there he is, grabbing the vacuum cleaner with gloves. So yeah, I made him wash his hands when he got home. So not all day long, but just when it's important.
Was that a do-it-yourself washing
Yeah.
car wash place? Yeah, the full service ones are closed around here. I went to one the other day, wash it yourself, but I still spent $15 on the stupid machine trying to get my truck clean.
Yeah. Yeah, it was they were actually social distancing. You know how you can get parked next to one another and you share the vacuums, you know, there's a vacuum on each side. They had them blocked off every other one. So there was no car next to you.
Yeah,
It was
nice.
kind of nice, but you had to wait in line.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm getting a little tired of the online grocery shopping. I think I'm going to go out
You're
there
ready
and
to hit
grocery
the
shopping.
stores.
Hate it.
Yeah.
Susie, come back on. Come on.
Hey, Pat.
Yes, sir.
Pat, have you read the what Gavin Newsom has proposed at phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and phase 4? Have you read that? The phases that we're going to go. You have not?
No.
Well, I listened to them and they're pretty vague. You know what I mean? There's certain things that we have to hit, and one of them, I think it was to end phase 3 and start phase 4, which is what we used to do, everything fully open. To get past phase 3, and I'd never even heard this before, that Google's gonna come up with an app, right? And it's called Contact app. And if somebody knows what the real name is, they can jump on and tell me or type it in. But it's an app you download on your smartphone, and it's where the government can track you, right? Well, Gavin said that at least 75% of California have to download this app before this is, I could be wrong, I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but before he'll go to phase 4, that 75% of Californians will need to download this app so the government can track you. And I just thought to myself, that ain't gonna happen.
I didn't hear that percentage. I heard about the app, but I heard it in context that it would be purely voluntary. And if you wanted to know who around you or the places you're going, if they have the virus or where it is, I think they're trying to work on that. And I think that's through Bill Gates is helping them out with that. But I don't know. I haven't heard that it's going to require percentage, but I haven't read those points either, so I don't know.
Well, to be honest with you, I briefly read them and I didn't get that part, but I was eating lunch today and I was listening to the radio and they went through all 4 phases. Like we're in phase 1 right now, right? So phase 2, I forgot basically hiking trails were going to be open, and they're real anxious to get the schools back open.
Well, they're trying to get procedure to gradually open it up rather than bang.
Did you read it?
No, but I just heard it.
No, there's specific things that we have to reach, before he will. And like I said, they're very vague. They can be interpreted a lot of different ways, depending on how you want to look at it. But it's pretty interesting. It's something that we can look at and say, okay, when this happens, we can, rather than just having them say, no, another 2 weeks, another 2 weeks, another 2 weeks.
Didn't the federal government come up with guidelines also?
I'll be back in a minute, you guys.
I think there's federal government guidelines out there too, aren't there?
Yeah, I would imagine there is, but I think the state has way more control of their own municipalities, their own jurisdiction. I think the states have the governor has a lot of control. And,
yeah, I think so.
I mean, he certainly sounds like he has a lot of control. Whether he does or not, I don't know.
I think some of the things in the federal guidelines were it had to be 14 days of declining cases in your area. Those are some of the things the federal government suggested. So
I've heard that too.
I don't know how close we are to that yet. I've heard some of states opening up tomorrow, they're still increasing.
Thank you. Just got a delivery from Amazon. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Congratulations.
Packages. Oh boy, I have no idea what I ordered. Thank you. So yeah.
So I actually haven't read his short answer. I can kind of Google it right now, but then I'd be reading it and not maybe if someone comes up and takes over. But there are guidelines from the federal government, and the states have their choice whether they do them or not. Some are like I said, I think some states are starting to open up Friday.
Well, I'm May 1st, right? I'm wondering how that would work with the 6 or 8 states that really haven't done anything. You know, Oklahoma and North Dakota or whatever those states are. I don't have them memorized, but there are states, 6 or 8 states in the United States that haven't closed businesses, basically. You know.
Yeah, no, I think we're going to start that phase here real soon. And hey, David, I see David and Damien's out there. Good to see you. And Dennis, Lynn Brown, welcome to the show. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I hope now that they're testing more often, it seems like the data will be coming quicker. So I guess we'll see soon, won't we?
So it sounds like to me if you want to get tested for the virus, you can. I think Trina came on here the other day and said, I got tested today, and it was a phone call, and I think I asked her how much it was, and didn't even cost anything. But
no,
that test they still swab the back of your throat through your nose, I guess. It's still not a real comfortable thing to have done.
It looked like a pretty long swab for sure. So if I showed symptoms, for sure I'd want to test. I definitely would. I heard in Europe came out with a 99% antibody test, but again, I don't think they're sure if you even have the antibodies that you're safe. I don't know if that's been established. So
yeah. Well, even though I heard they're using the plasma from people that have had the virus, and they are treating people that are sick with the virus. I heard that, but I don't know how much and where. I think that's all just in kind of like the testing stage, Yeah,
well, that's old school. That's how they used to immunize people before vaccines was, I believe, blood transfusions. Right. So yeah, I think we're getting close to. Was
that your brother that put up that big paragraph?
That was his daughter. I didn't have a whole chance to read it. I'm not that fast of a reader. Here, let's take a second to read it.
Sure. Read it out loud because I can't see it on my phone.
Yeah, I think it has to do from what I'm guessing, since she's in North Dakota. I don't know if this is. I've heard about the program before, but I don't know if it's a nationwide thing or whatever. I'm sure it must be. I'll read it the best that I can here. It traces the Wi-Fi you connect to, etc. The material is already being tracked on your phone, and tons of people have access to it already, unless you have taken steps to counter it, which I couldn't tell you exactly what to do. If you get targeted ads online, then where you think those advertisers know what ads you're likely to be interested in. From that location to internet search info they're already using. So I think they do track us already, and I think they have a lot of data on how social distancing is working is just by metadata from how the phones are moving around. But yeah, I think it's pretty well known that if you carry around a cell phone, your location will be tracked real easily.
Yeah, the app I was talking about was a very specific app that you might be savvy enough on the computer to be able to track somebody, but I'm not. I would have no idea unless I had an app telling me how to do it,
Yeah, there's apps that do that you can Yeah.
If you have a phone number, you can track it.
I think they have. I think the only apps I heard of, this was years ago. It was I read or heard about it somewhere, but it was like it was kind of like a dating thing where if you're signed up for it, on your phone, you can see all the other people in your area where they're located.
Yeah.
For,
Yeah.
so you can, whether in your bars or downtown or whatever, and say, oh, that person.
Right. Like a singles thing, right?
Kind of, but yeah. But I think everyone had to sign up for it to show that they're there.
Now, signing up for a website that's going to show you where you can go get laid at night is a whole lot different than signing up for a website where you think the government's tracking you.
Well, government
that's not necessarily my attitude on the thing, but that's a lot of people's attitude.
Well, if
the last thing they want to know is
you probably you're going to get tracked, or it's available to powers that be. So I think that's okay. Yeah, I don't know about the I don't know the details. I'll have to look at that about having to do it. That doesn't seem.
What if the government said, and this is just a big what if? Okay, you've tested positive to COVID-19. You have to go onto this app. You have to let other people know, that you tested positive.
I don't.
Or is that just too big of a what if?
That's a pretty big what if. I know doctors aren't allowed to give medical information out. Isn't there something to do with you have a right to privacy? I would hope.
Yeah.
So
but this is. I mean, we all have rights that have been suspended, right? I mean, why couldn't that right be suspended too if the government deemed it necessary for the safety of all people?
No, that becomes a real interesting question of individual rights or
that's kind of what I'm getting at here.
There's always a balance in that, right? I mean, that's something that's neither one
or an imbalance. It's either a balance or an imbalance, one of the two.
I mean, they've quarantined people in the past. That's not
Sure.
crazy unusual. Forced quarantine, So
right, yeah. Does that forced quarantine? Does that get us to all the way to where we know you have COVID and we're tracking you everywhere you go? I imagine
they could.
Where's the line there? You know what I mean? Where is there a line?
I think that's I don't know. There's a pretty, those are the kinds of things I would hope that the public gets to weigh in on. But.
Well, we haven't got to weigh in too much, I don't think, on everything that they've done so far. We haven't really had a whole lot of say on, the restrictions they put on us. It's pretty much do what they say or suffer the consequences.
Yeah, I wonder how many people have had any consequences from. I don't know. I haven't heard a lot of people going to jail.
Yeah, I read where a lady in Texas opened her beauty salon, and she's facing. You always hear $1,000 fine. That's the money. That's the number I hear tossed around for people. The guy that was out wakeboarding on the beach when they chased him down ended up $1,000 fine. I don't know if he paid it, but that's what they said. Anything that I've ever heard has always been like, oh, that's $1,000 fine to do that. So I think there have been some consequences, to be honest with you. I mean, for people disobeying the stay-at-home orders.
Actually, I don't know. I don't want to give up any names, but today when my hairstylist or my barber is across the street from the post office, and today she was out pulling weeds in front of sprucing up her building. So I had to go over and I asked her. I said, "Can you give haircut?" She says, "No, I can't do that. I can't do that." And then I said, "Are you sure?" She goes, "Come in." So I have an appointment for this Friday.
Are you going to wear a mask?
I didn't today. She didn't have one on.
Yeah. I've seen pictures of girls, or hairstylists doing hair, and they both have masks on. I was just curious if you guys are going to. But anybody listen? Gary Roselle came by the shop. I think you remember, and he's all clean shaven, haircut. And I go, "You went and got a haircut?" And he goes, "Yes, I did." So there are people getting haircuts. It is
Danielle's
happening.
doing them in her front yard.
Yeah, there you go. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
They actually,
I sure need one.
There's actually a hair shop here called The Gear that opened up, and the health department is in there working with him so that he follows their guidelines, and they're allowing him to stay open.
Is that right?
Yeah. Well, up here in Butte County, we had 16 cases, and every case has recovered. No one's in the hospital, and no one's died yet. So
Yeah.
we're in a pretty good position compared to like being in the middle of Alameda or San Francisco or downtown LA. Whole different thing. So I am going to tell you about this tracing thing though, because Dr. Campbell, and I highly recommend everybody watching Dr. John Campbell's daily report on the virus, because I've been watching that guy since the beginning of February. Nothing but really good information on everything that's happening. And he totally recommends everybody downloading the app. The app is, it's your own, you personally can do it, or you personally don't have to do it. What it does though, it's all about testing, tracing, tracking, and then putting you in isolation if you do, get the virus. And it knows everybody you've come in contact with if you got within 6 feet of their phone. So rather than paying billions of dollars to these tracers that they're calling them, the government's trying to hire a bunch of people in all the different states so that we can do tracing. It'd be a lot cheaper to do it off the phones. And just like, the conspiracy guys are saying how, this is more big government. In a way it is, but in a way it's using technology to really get to the bottom of this tracing thing, which until we get a vaccine, we need to do that to mitigate the thing if we're going to try to have a semi-open society where we can go into stores, where we can go get a haircut, where we can open up schools. So, I mean, it's according to Dr. Campbell, and he's got the app on his phone, and that's in England. He highly recommends that it's one of the best things we could all do to get back to some kind of normalcy. So I'm just throwing that in there because I truly trust what John Campbell has to say about everything.
Did you, Damien? I think we had two, but I don't think we have any anymore. But I don't really know for sure. Dennis, did you happen to read what Newsom put out by any chance? As what his details were on that?
I saw a little bit on some of the YouTube things I was watching today. They're trying to get a format for opening, and I think one of the biggest problems we have is that there's nothing that is, there's no set guidance. It's all too up in the air. I think our states are actually doing a better job than our federal government for guidance, and we got to get somewhere to get a kind of a controlled opening. Otherwise, it's going to come and bite us in the ass if we think we can all just go back to the way it was and the thing starts taking off again, because it will take off. The only reason the numbers are down is because California has done such a good job in social distancing. And so applaud everybody and all the individuals in California that have done this, because the virus doesn't move. The virus only moves when people move. The virus doesn't have the ability to move around and infect people. People got to be moving around for the virus to work. So it makes a lot of sense to me,
I would.
Dave, how you doing, buddy?
Hi, Dave.
Hey, Kurt, Dennis.
I really like Dr. Campbell. I highly recommend everybody watching his daily podcast, though. He's an English doctor.
Kurt, are you hearing Dennis?
Yeah.
I can't hear
you great.
You got to go
He's a
back.
great
You got to go
bunch
out,
of information.
Dave, and come back in.
All right.
That seems to be what's working today. Dennis, I agree with you on the app. Okay, and I probably wouldn't have a problem downloading the app. I'm just saying there's a lot of people that are going to have a problem
there's
downloading an app that the government tracks you in or people track you in.
There's too much information, one way or the other. It's just, you know, and it's confusing for everybody, which is why I say there needs to be some kind of a guideline for people to follow, which I think has been lacking through this whole thing. You know,
Yeah.
so
Let me go where there's a little less background noise. We got the dogs, people working in the yard, a lot of stuff going on outside where I was.
My little one over here wants to start barking all the time. So.
And then Linda left her phone on.
But anybody who's listening, Dr. Campbell on YouTube, he's been doing this thing since January, and he does a daily or sometimes 2 updates every day. And he is not political. He's just an English doctor. He actually, you'll see him on mainstream news outlets every once in a while. He's on top the whole, more than anybody. I've gotten the best information out of him than anybody, though. Just straight up good info. And he gives the info from all the statistics around the world. And he's not partial to any country or anything. What he does in his testing, when he talks about testing, it's about per 1,000. Say Singapore is doing 12.9 people per 1,000 in their testing. The UK might only be doing 8.7 people per 1,000. And you know, you hear how we're the #1 testing per 1,000. We're not. So he's really good.
I think South Korea has probably tested more people.
What's that?
South Korea, I think, has tested a lot of people, but the whole.
I think New Zealand's.
I'm with you.
So is Israel. So
I'm with your brother Damien on this, where we know how this virus is going by the people that aren't in the hospital, right? If you're going to test, you're going to have to test medical workers every day, and you're going to have to test the general public at least once a week. That is millions and millions and millions of tests. Is it feasible?
I hear they're coming up with a breathalyzer test, which is supposed to,
I've heard a spit test too.
Do it. Yeah. I think what they're trying to do is get the essential workers, which are the ones that are going to go back to work in phase 2. It'll be the essential business, you know, it's not going to be your theaters. It's not going to be your bowling alleys. It's going to be more essential businesses. And those are the ones that need to be on the front lines of getting the test first before non-essential people do.
Okay. So essential businesses are already open.
What's that?
Right. Essential businesses are already open.
Well, I'm talking now, but they're going to do it in phases where they're not going to open up everything all at once.
No. I know. I read the 4 phases that they're going to do it in. I get it.
I don't even think hair salons is in that second phase. I don't believe.
Yeah, they are.
I think it's more factory working. Maybe some kind of office management.
Maybe David can shed some light on it. Have you read it, Dave?
I have. What you're going to see is even those ones that are open are going to have to abide by the social distancing. You know, so they were talking about restaurants, maybe every other table being seated, only so many people at the restaurant at a time. And that's going to be the new norm for a while. But what was encouraging today, what I found out was the Oxford in England has actually come up with a vaccine, and they've tested it on monkeys, and it works. And they've already sent out to produce 2 million vaccines. So my theory is no company is going to produce 2 million vaccines if they're not pretty damn sure that it works. So
there's 70 people out there working on vaccines too. 70 different companies. So that's a good thing too.
My personal feeling is, and they've actually reduced, before they were talking 1.5 years, and now they're talking September. I'm thinking it's even going to be sooner than that. I would say by August that there'll be a vaccine out.
I'm hearing 6 months to get to the general public, but even that is absolutely in. I mean, come on, they've never. The common cold is a vaccine. They haven't ever been able to come up with something to kick its butt. So it's not something easy that they're working on when you talk vaccines. It's not bacteria.
No, but on the other hand, there's never been this amount of energy, money, and people that are trying to do this.
And technology. Let's not forget about technology that we didn't have 5 years ago. You
No,
know what I
and
mean?
there's a huge monetary, incentive. Whoever comes up with
Oh.
that vaccine is going to be rich.
Yeah.
Hopefully they'll do the salt thing and just give it to
That's not going to happen. Not anymore.
You won't be allowed to patent it, damn it.
No.
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of people working on it. But I really like Dr. Campbell. He talks a lot about Oxford because he's from England. He's an English bloke.
Yeah.
But like I said, he's not political. He's all about numbers and facts.
Yeah,
I've listened to him, Dan.
With what we've seen so far out of Fossey and the rest
You
of
know,
them.
I mean, basically,
What's that?
a lot of people have gotten it wrong. Nobody has gotten anything right, if you ask me.
Well,
the models have been wrong, and this has
Models
been
will be
wrong, and
without the right numbers, and they're never going to have the right numbers till everybody's tested. That's the
Yeah.
fact. I mean,
That's the problem. I said from the very beginning when I was talking to Smitty. When they talk about the death toll, they're hiding a little bit of that. I think,
that's called the CRF.
right. And so those numbers are kind of okay. You can say that those are pure numbers where people are dying.
Oh, the death rates don't change.
But the reality is when you start talking percentages of the population that are dying that have the virus, well, there's never been enough testing to say it's 12% or 0.02%.
The death rates are numbers that aren't going to change a whole lot. Maybe a little bit because of this guy had a heart attack actually instead of he didn't die from the COVID. Okay, but the death rates are set. It's the amount of infections that they don't know, because the more people that are infected, the lower percentage your CRF is.
Right, or the people that have had it and have recovered from it. That's another
which
number
is
we
just
have
your
no
critical
idea.
rate of fatalities.
Right.
So, yeah.
But
It's still coming in at all the best estimates. And this is all through all the different countries around the world. Their numbers that are coming in, it's somewhere between 1% and 2%, which still puts it a hell of a lot more deadly than the flu.
Right, and I think when it's all said and done, I think it's going to end up being less than 1%. Is my gut feeling tells me.
Yeah, and it very well could be that the flu is actually less than
it's 0.04, 0.03 or something.
the reality of it. They call it 0.1, but it's actually less than that.
Yeah.
So
this is a number
they're still saying, most of the people that are in the know are saying somewhere around 10 times more fatal than the standard flu.
Well, one of the interesting things I came across too is I think the number was 40% or larger, that the 40% of all the deaths were in care homes.
Yeah, it's age.
And that was a number that surprised me.
You know what I've heard? Some of the numbers that scare me is 80% of the people that get this thing don't show symptoms.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying there's a lot of people walking around that have already had it.
Yep. And that's a thing they can't get a handle on without major testing going on. So
no. And this is the one Christy and I talked.
I'm breaking up again because I'm on a Wi-Fi, guys. I just thought I'd put that in there. I was trying to push in a little something for Dr. Campbell because I think he's great. So,
right.
Yeah. All right, buddies.
How much money did you make for that advertisement there, Dan?
Yeah.
David, it might be you. Hold on.
But we're talking about that earlier today.
What? That I just need to get a job? What part?
Get a job.
Oh, yeah.
Make me a sandwich.
Today. Okay, what were we talking about? The amount of people tested?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Why? This is the one I don't get. So they're doing this round of testing for people, but they're not testing to test to see if you had it. All they're testing for is the virus itself.
We're saying test at the same time.
Why wouldn't you test for both? If somebody's coming in and having drawing blood or drawing something else, why wouldn't you just test for both of them? I mean,
I don't think they got that test, Louis. I don't think they have the test yet.
Well, they have the test to see if you had the virus. They're two different tests, but why wouldn't they run both those tests when they're running one?
Like the antibody.
Because they don't have the test to see if you had it before. That test isn't available.
They definitely have the antibody test.
Yep.
Yeah. So
They
why
do?
would they test the antibody and the
I-
virus test
I-
with the same test?
I'm not 100. I'm not calling you a liar or anything, but I haven't heard that, Louis. To be honest with you, that they have the antibody test.
Yeah, Ray
I-
Ray's company has it.
Do they?
Down here.
Yeah.
Is it being mass produced yet? I mean, is it? I mean, they be working on it. Is it FDA approval? Has it gone through the whole thing? I don't know all these answers, but I mean that might be an answer.
Well, some people are taking it. I know Joe Rogan gets it like twice a week, or
Gets what?
The antibody test.
Why would you take it twice a week?
I don't
If
know.
you do,
Maybe I'm wrong. As I think about it, but I'm pretty sure that test's out there, and I heard there's one in Europe that's like 99% accurate now too. Maybe
But
that's,
you know, Kurt, you might be right because I know there was a test done by USC, and they test 1,000 people for the antibodies. The test is out there. It may not be widespread, like you say,
yeah, that
and that might be a
that
problem.
just makes sense. But this is what I would like. This is a statistic I would love to know, but I know it's going to sound foolish when I say it because it's impossible to tell right now. I would like to know the odds of you running into somebody with COVID. What are the odds that you're going to? And I know it's an impossible question to be answered right now, but I just think, just my gut feeling is those odds are incredibly high.
well, what I can tell you,
Incredibly high.
I can guarantee you this: the more people you get in contact with, the more likely you are to get it.
Okay, that's almost like saying the more lotto tickets you buy, the more you're apt to win the lotto. It doesn't matter if you buy 5 lotto tickets or 500 lotto tickets. It'll increase your odds. I get it. By what percentage though? You know what I mean?
Yeah, by
I agree.
500 times actually.
500 times out of 500 million.
Well, if you bought one or you bought 500, literally, you would have 500 times the amount.
Okay, so you have 1 in a million, 1 in 500 million. If you buy one ticket, if you buy 500 tickets, you have 500 in a million. You know what I mean? It's
still
I don't know.
astronomical odds.
That's what I personally believe that. I know there's no way to tell that right now until everybody's tested, until we know everybody that has it, and we might not ever know that. We might not know that, but my gut feeling, I know nobody that has COVID. Nobody. Okay, and I know a lot of people. I talk to a lot of people every day. So it just kind of follow your instinct of really, what are the odds of me even running into somebody? I don't use mass transit. I don't go to crowded areas.
Well, the reality too is I could shake somebody's hand that has COVID, and he could actually have it on his hands, and as long as I went to the sink and washed my hands and
are you sanitize
I
your
would never
hands?
get it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. So
It was almost like AIDS. Everybody was so afraid of AIDS, that you were in the same room with
Right.
somebody that had AIDS. But the reality was, it wasn't,
yeah, it wasn't in the air.
Sahara has a friend's father who's on a ventilator.
Mm-hmm. Oh, they're out there. They're definitely out there. I just don't know of anybody, And so that so she has a friend's she knows a friend's father. She doesn't personally know the person. You know what I mean? Not that makes any difference.
it's funny. I would say, in our family anyway, if anybody has it, I should probably have gotten it because I've probably done more social things as far as, I still go out to fast foods and we order
Yep.
food in, and I still go to
Yep.
Home Depot, and I still go
Yep.
to lumber yards.
Yep. Yep. Went to a job site yesterday, and there was probably in this room that was probably 2,000 square feet, there's probably 15 different trades working. Everybody had masks and everything,
Right.
but Yeah. So yeah, not too many. Not too many people do that. I hate those masks, though. Oh God, they bug the hell
No, but
out of me.
on the other hand, too, it does. They've proven, the producing plants, the packing plants for meat, they've
Yeah.
definitely, when it goes through there, numerous
Yep.
people get it, so it's contagious for sure.
Yeah, or on the Navy ship, on the destroyer or the aircraft carrier that had a bunch of people.
And that may be
had
the
it.
way we have to deal with it. When
Yeah.
little clusters come up, you quarantine that cluster.
Isolate those areas, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yep. We'll see.
Yeah,
Be interested to see how it all pans out.
I think it depends on your location. Like you're talking about odds, it'd probably be really tough. I imagine my odds are probably less of running into somebody than somebody in New York City. Or
Definitely. No doubt about it.
It's probably not a real easy thing to do, but yeah. But it is true that the less, if you never see anybody, you'll never run across it.
Well, in the reality, is if you look at if Butte County really only has no deaths and 2 cases, and you have very few up there, those are the cities that should be allowed to open up and monitor it. And if it does start to start to spread, then they don't need to lock down again. But to ask those small cities that have very few cases that to quarantine and shut small businesses down, I just don't think is fair.
Yes, sir.
The problem with your thought right there is if you never see anybody, our economy won't open up. If you never see anybody, you'll not. What kind of existence is that? You can't have a lifestyle and never see anybody, and the general public, let's say. I mean, there are hermits that can pull that off, right? There are people that living up in the mountains and off the grid and stuff, but that's not most of society. Most of society can't function with never seeing anybody. There has to be a time where, you have to interact. You have to. That's how our society works.
Well,
and it has worked for hundreds of thousands of years.
And there's always risk involved in living, and I guess it's kind of selfish. I'm ready to go back to work, and if you're not, then by all means self quarantine. I have no problem with that. But you shouldn't. The people that are willing to take the risk, let them take the risk.
Yeah. If you're a grandma and you're paranoid your grandkids because they're going to school, then don't see them. I mean, I don't know. There's no easy answer to this. We all know that, but it just seems that the isolation thing and staying away from people, that's not sustainable. It's absolutely not sustainable.
And it's opening up here. I mean, you can see the frustration in people. I mean, there's probably this last few days I've seen a lot more people out, a lot more people driving.
Yep.
The people are getting tired of it. It's not going to be
they
too
really
much longer.
are.
Enough's enough.
You're right, David. There's my dogs. My one noisy dog, anyway.
I have the grill turned on.
Hey, I gotta bow out.
Okay.
I wash my hands.
All right. Well, this might be a good turn. We just gone a little over an hour. Drop the link. Someone else has a final thought.
Yeah. Somebody could take my spot.
Or so maybe that's a good kind of time to say good night, farewell, my friends.
All right. I got on late. Sorry about that.
No, thank you for coming on. Hey, do I get my T-shirt sent to me yet?
Yeah, my wife says she's gonna send it to you.
Patrick, I'm going to the post office tomorrow. Do we have your address, or you want to give it to me right now?
Give it to her right now.
I'll text it. I'll text it to David.
Okay.
Okay, I'm literally going tomorrow.
I'm pretending I have some stalkers out there.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. There's only 3 people on, Smitty. 2 of them are us.
Thank you. Thank you, Christy.
I'm gonna go. I got a brand new T-shirt.
I'm not hearing you guys.
Grab it for right now.
I'm not hearing you. Can you hear me?
All right.
Shake your head.
Yep.
You can't hear me.
Good.
I can hear you.
I can hear you. I'll come back.
Okay.
All right.
Why don't you just stay in chat? Is he going to come on and you
No,
going to
he's
chat more?
Are we done?
I think Dennis is going to try to come. I think he might have something interesting to say. We'll see. Other than that, I'm going to I'm gonna wrap this up like a present.
All right. I'm gonna go grab your T-shirt.
Okay.
I grab your T-shirt, so you know it's at least gotten to her hands, and then it's off of me.
Yeah.
Okay.
You said size extra small, right?
No,
I can hear now.
two extra larges, young lady. 2 extra larges.
I just wanted to throw in one more thing, Patrick. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Dennis.
So my last little deal here, because I just went and had something to eat, and I had to. There it is. Send it off to Smitty. He's been waiting. So every app that somebody downloads onto their phone, right? Every app. I don't care if it's WhatsApp, if it's YouTube, it's Game Boy. You're downloading an app onto your phone. How many of you out there read that small print that you say I'm okay with when they throw that up there at you? Because every app you download says accept or don't accept. Now, how many people read all that small print?
Nobody.
Nobody. You know what all that small print says? That they're allowed to track you through every app you download. So,
Usually, yes.
you know, these conspiracy people that want to call this just because it's the government, you know, what it's going to do, you come in contact with somebody, you come within 6 feet of somebody that's got the virus, they're going to contact you and let you know.
Now,
I'm all for that.
can I play devil's advocate?
What's that?
Can I play devil's advocate?
Sure. Yes, you're right. You run the show.
No. When you said that, I just, and again, this would be an extreme situation, but maybe they'll start throwing rocks at you. So, you know, you're in a group of people and someone says, "Oh, that guy has it."
That's all right. Throw rocks. It's okay.
You know, but
I'm just
anyway,
trying to make a point. I think it's better than paying billions of dollars to people trying to trace and track infectious people with the telephone. You know what I'm saying?
Let me. Okay, this is some of the details in that. Well, so let's say I get tested positive, right? So and then I'm positive. So somehow the doctor, whoever I got the test, has to enter into a database with my phone number, right? I would guess that's what.
I guess so.
So what so if you get it, what would keep you from just getting another phone?
Well, I think what they're trying to do is control the mitigation so that we all don't have to social distance. Only the people that have it or have a chance of getting it because they came in contact with somebody has to do the social distancing, which I think everybody would be on board for if that could open up things. So
I
I'm
think
just
that-
looking
I
at
think
the
that's
positives of it, you know?
I think that's what Kurt was kind of getting at. Have I even come in contact with somebody? You know, and that would give you that information.
Yeah, and I think that's what this app's supposed to be trying to do. So I just thought I'd throw it out there, you know.
And I see it's someone else's microphone. I think it's David's. Let me mute you for a second, David.
It could be me.
No, it's David's. Just as devil's advocate is you would want to be cleared, right? So you can socialize, do work, go to work, etc.
Right.
Et so you're going to be if you do have it, you're going to be incentivized to hide it because you can make money. You know what I'm saying?
If I knew I had it, I don't want to go to the grocery store. I don't want to infect other people. And that's what, as a society, we need to be doing at this time. So, I'm all on board for working as a society to try to kick this thing's butt rather than fighting each other and making this thing go on and on and on. So, that's kind of my take on the whole.
Yeah, I hope before that kind of comes into play, that testing comes in, and we have I don't know. Yeah, we have to. Hopefully, we'll do something because we can't disintegrate the economy. Eventually, something's going to happen.
I'm going to say, David, Matt called me, and Kevin had all the supervisors go get tested, right?
Yeah.
Well, Matt now has to isolate till he gets his until he gets his results. So we were having a funny conversation about that. You know, that Kevin just blew it. He doesn't have any supervisors for his job now. You know.
The other thing you could do, Smitty, I understand where you're saying, no, I need to work, so I'm going to hide the thing. Well, right now, if they had this in place and said, you know what, instead of giving everybody unemployment, you know what, we're going to pay the people that have it that have to be quarantined. It'll be a far, far, far fewer number than what we're paying now, and it would still, give them.
I do believe if you have it, if you get tested positive, and you get caught out in a grocery store, you've just committed a criminal act. I do believe that is part of the deal right now. So I could be wrong, but you're committing a criminal act if you go out and you know you have it.
So basically, I would either get another phone, or I would leave my phone at home.
How about just be a good citizen? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean that's what it's all about. For Christ's sake, you know. I mean, hey, this virus doesn't care if you're Republican or Democrat. This virus doesn't care about your constitutional rights. If you mess up, this virus is going to get you, and that's the bottom line there. That's what people aren't quite getting a hold of. I understand.
No, and I get it. I get it, but they shouldn't be politicizing the benefits.
No, politics should have nothing to do with this. This is why I like Dr. Campbell so much. He's completely non-political. He's about nothing but the facts and the numbers and the statistics. Politics should have really nothing to do with this, except trying to give us comprehensive guidelines that we all should be following. So that's my take. You can throw rocks at me however you want. Okay. All right.
I was just playing devil's advocate. I thought I had something to say, but I didn't. I muted Wooey
because hurt my feelings, bro. You know that.
Your microphone. But what I was going to say is this has become absolutely a politicized issue.
Yes, it has, and it's
100%.
Because it shouldn't. It shouldn't, though. It really shouldn't be.
It shouldn't, but it absolutely. I don't even know, like, kind of just even talking with it. It's borderline. You're on the fence of.
You know what? Making it political, it's going to end up kicking our ass. That's the problem with it.
I agree. I agree.
All right. Enough said. Love you guys.
Take care.
Yeah.
David, we'll try you again. No, you got to. It's something about your phone. It's on. Is it sitting against metal or something like that?
Is that better?
Yes.
All right.
Interesting. Yeah, it was sitting at something that's plugged in, electrical.
Yeah. That seems to really. Yeah. That's not a good thing.
Okay. Sorry about that. I'll know for next time.
No worries. We're all learning here. Well, you got anything? Let me drop the link one more time in case someone wants to get the last word in, which I'm okay with.
I commented earlier. It was really funny because everybody expected the way the beaches were last weekend. Newport Beach was just wall-to-wall people, and they weren't supposed to be laying out in the sand. It was supposed to be for exercise, and they had families with picnics and umbrellas and the whole 9 yards. So they really expected that the beaches were going to close again for this next weekend. And Newport City Council came out and said, no, we're going to leave them open.
Okay. See, I'm not real sure how. Yeah. That's okay. You know what?
And that's. I think that's part of the problem is just there's just no consistency with everything.
No, and hopefully with the testing they'll figure out real soon. Hopefully soon, if we're reopening too early. There's a danger of you can open too early could be very dangerous, and opening too late could be very dangerous. So it's a tricky thing to walk down. I don't know the answers. I'm in a different position up here, so it's hard for me to tell anybody else. You have to, you can't go make money or support your family or do whatever you have to do. That's a tough one.
And nobody really knows how it's going to turn out, but however it turns out, the other side's going to point fingers at the other one for doing something. It just shouldn't be that way.
This turned very much a political thing, and it just has. Anyways, got anything else? I got the link. Let's
No, I'm ready to go.
Okay, thank you for coming on. I always appreciate people coming on. I appreciate people watching. I appreciate people typing in comments. I really appreciate that. And even if you don't, if you're a lurker, that's also good. That's also good.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
Take care, David. Now I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. And thank you for coming in. We've been about an hour and a half. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. So I don't know. Let's just go ahead and finish this thing off. We'll come back. I don't have any plans tomorrow. It's Thursday, and then Friday, and then excuse me, and then Friday we'll do the 8 o'clock show for Dawn Hershey because I think she's ready to go again. I'm not sure. So having said that, take care, everybody. Thanks for sticking by or watching and all that good stuff. Sharing your day with us, and cool. Take care. Peace. See ya. I wouldn't want to be ya. Good night. Enjoy the rest of your evening.